want to share with you what's been helpful for me to move away from addictive patterns, specifically around food and around eating. And yeah, it's been a really revealing journey for me as I've been really studying myself with food and how I eat and what's my energy with how I'm consuming and receiving this information, as I see food as information. And it's been a journey of a few years, and really became revealing to me. I really was able to see the nature of my mind as I went into a 5-day coconut cleanse, a 5-day coconut fast that I did on my own, with just coconut water and nettle tea. And I did that for 5 days, and that 5 days gave me spaciousness to notice how when I commit to something, like I wasn't even hungry, but I would notice every now and then my mind would think about food and desire food, and it wasn't even my body, it wasn't even my body desiring the food, but it was the nature of the mind. And how often I would eat something because I'm in a social setting or social environment, and ultimately noticing how, as I've been moving through so much deep internal and external transformation, how this transformation needed more space to really land and integrate. And part of my being, part of my small ego self that is afraid to let go, was afraid of that, was afraid of this transformation, because with every transformation comes a new version of myself. And what I noticed is a way for me to cope with all of the transformation, with all of the change. I was attaching food. I was coping with food, with overeating, with eating when I'm not hungry, with reaching out for cacao or for this or for that when I'm not actually needing that, when my body doesn't want that. And because I was overriding my body and my needs enough times, it became this pattern, this way for me to escape what I'm feeling and being with what I'm feeling. Not even escape, but it was more like numbing what I was feeling, because I was feeding myself with more information. It became a way to to subtly and very obviously stay in perpetual patterns that were not serving me and that were not supporting me. Obviously, I'm not sharing all the amazing things and all the great things that I have been doing that have been supportive for the energy to move and to shift, and all the other ways that have been integrative. But what I am sharing is that I have been in a cycle of in and out cycle. Some months have been good, some months have not been good. But right now I feel stable enough in my being, in my body. I've created enough space to change the pattern. And this is what I've done that has helped me to shift from reaching out for something that I actually don't need, which is something I learned recently from a sister who shared with me that most of the dis-eases, being out of ease in our bodies, come from overeating. And in some cases, it will be undereating. In some cases, it will be not nurturing ourselves. So it could be one extreme or the other. But finding that balance, finding that sweet spot of what does my body actually need to feel nourished, to feel fulfilled, to receive the nutrients, and then to be able to translate that into the work that I'm doing, my daily life. I believe is a continuous art to keep finding that balance, that harmony that allows me, that allows anyone to connect to what does the body actually need. And it's not so much what am I craving. Sometimes it's what I'm craving, But a lot of times the cravings can come from, yeah, like inner patterns. And sometimes those patterns show up as parasites or candida overgrowth or different things that are not fully settled. And the cravings, oh, I crave sugar, I crave sweets, but it's like, is that what my body actually needs? And I feel for me what's been useful in this cycle of life, as specifically in the last 6 months, as I've been really on a deep healing journey physically. As when I went to Bulgaria, I gave myself permission to have different foods, and I experienced some incredible deep belly here pain for a few weeks. It was 3 weeks. The first week was like almost unbearable for me to sleep at night, and the second week it started getting better, and then the third week it cleared. But it was a really intense moment for me to notice how, because I'm eating generally very healthy, just opening myself fully, be like, okay, I'm gonna have some coffee, and I'm gonna have this meal, and I'm gonna have that meal, and go to restaurants. And there was a lot of different foods that my body wasn't usually having when I was in Bulgaria, that, it created this pain that I believe pain comes to us to pay attention, to be like, hey, something I'm doing is out of alignment. Something I'm doing, the way I'm receiving information, the way I'm approaching things energetically, mentally, emotionally, physically, something is not in truth, something is not in alignment. And I believe alignment is an everyday thing. And it's not like once I'm in alignment, that's it. But it's like that, what is that deep listening? And yeah, for me, it really invited me to go deeper into tending to my gut and tending to all of my inner organs, and doing different cleanses, from liver cleanse to parasite cleanse to colon cleanse. But to me, it wasn't so much about the cleanses, it was more how was I approaching these cleanses. And how I was approaching the cleanses was with a lot of compassion, a lot of gentleness, letting go of the strictness. It has to be this way and it has to be that way, and like the inner manager, the inner controller that doesn't feel safe to receive the nutrients. And yeah, it was with a lot of compassion, a lot of gentleness, and a lot of like giving myself plenty of space to make mistakes and to find my center again, and to give myself plenty of freedom to see that the journey of healing is an ever growing and unfolding journey. Whether it's healing emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, it's all interconnected. And I believe when the physical body is not in alignment, in tune with our greater mission, with our dharma, then different manifestations, different blockages, different dis-eases start to manifest, because our body's like, hey, pay attention. Because whatever happens in the physical, it's the last thing that manifests. It takes a lot of thought, energy, everything for something to manifest in this physical realm, in the densest realm. And it takes time for that to also transform. And so what's been helpful is patience. What's been helpful is a lot of praying and coming to my womb every day, praying to my food, praying of what I am calling to receive, liberating the internal parts, the internal conflicts, to come into liberation, to come into peace, to come into love. As every part within me, I believe every part within every human being is here to come back into an integrated whole. You know, there's no bad parts. Even candida overgrowth, you know, it's like, okay, there's an imbalance there. How to tend to that, not from a place of, I'm gonna go destroy this thing and I'm gonna go kill all the parasites. It's like, we're kind of seeing that's happening in the world, aren't we? Like, I'm seeing that it's happening in the world, of different people wanting to destroy each other because they don't believe that they're worthy of this life. They don't believe that they're human enough to live and to be in this physical plane, that they're denying part of creation. And so can I approach my internal ecosystem, my internal permaculture from that place of everything is here to be of service, everything is here to come back into wholeness, and my job is to create enough spaciousness in my day-to-day to notice the patterns and to bring balance by, you know, if I'm eating sweets, or I'm craving sweets, bringing more bitters, to bring it into balance, to bring my yeah, like the medicine that I'm receiving from life, so that the sweetness I'm receiving is not overconsumption or yeah, doing it as a way to numb something, numb an emotion, but rather can I still enjoy the sweetness of life while noticing when I'm going a little bit off of balance, like I'm maybe desiring to have a little more even though my body doesn't want more. Can I bring that into balance by cultivating spaciousness? Just creating space. You know, it could be a minute after I'm done eating and before going to go get more. Can I just sit in that minute? Observe, notice, maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, and then really check in. Does my body really want more food right now? Do I really want to digest and consume more information right now? Right before going to bed? Do I really want to do that? And creating enough spaciousness and bringing different herbs, bitters, doing these different cleanses, praying, noticing how I'm approaching my food is interconnected with everything else, has been deeply, deeply supportive. And, you know, part of me wants to say I'm on the other side and things are great. And that is true. And I also know how tender this space is, because this is not just my healing, this is ancestral lineage of humans who have starved and who are, because they want to feel safer, they're reaching for more food. Because they're not able to sit with the uncomfortable emotions that are arising, they want to consume more so that they feel a sense of nourishment, false sense of nourishment and safety. But it's been happening for thousands of years. You know, so many of our ancestors have starved, so many of our ancestors have, you know, have been denied nourishment. And, you know, how to be in this world from this place of yeah, like really choosing the foods that our body truly desires, not what our ego mind wants, but what is actually good for us, what actually transfers into fuel, into energy that then I can share with life. That's what's coming up for me. There's so much more. I have been on the healing journey physically, health-wise, for a long time. This is not just these last 6 months. The last 6 months have just given me enough space to break some of these deeper patterns. But in the last, I would say 11 years, I started to really be a lot more conscious of what I'm buying, what are the ingredients, why I'm eating what I'm eating. It's been over a decade of a journey, and it's ever unfolding. And I'm here to keep being in the listening and keep being in the exploration and keep really enjoying the fruits, the nourishment that the mother, this earth has here to offer us, and how to tend to that with so much care and so much love. That is my, yeah, it's one of my deep, it's what gives me a lot of liberation, as I know there's so many humans in this earth that are starving right now. And so how can I be in a right relationship with the nourishment that life gives me each and every day? Yeah. And how to heal these addictive patterns that can sometimes come from that space of observation, allowing gentleness, care, compassion. Yeah, I hope this was useful. If it is, let me know. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm going to continue to share more insights and information as I continue to weave my everyday experiences and sharing them, sharing what's useful. Thank you so much.